The ratings are in for this week's special 2.5-hour edition of AEW Grand Slam Mexico, live from Arena Mexico on TBS. We'll let you know the details on that. Plus, WWE reportedly had issues with AEW talent being a part of the rebooted American Gladiator series hosted by WWE superstar The Miz. It wasn't the only issue they had with an AEW talent being involved with a WWE star, because WWE reportedly ensured that AEW's MJF was omitted from a Happy Gilmore 2 advertisement during Monday Night Raw. There are conflicting reports on plans for Mercedes Manet to lose for the first time in AEW and her match plans for AEW All In Texas. Source close to Vince McMahon is doubting that he'll run a minor league WWE competition in the professional wrestling world. Jey Uso was reportedly always planned for a short WWE World Heavyweight Championship reign. CMLL reportedly are begging to book Hangman Adam Page following his AEW Grand Slam Mexico promo completely in Spanish. WWE is interested in bringing AAA star Psycho Clown to the WWE main roster. TNA Wrestling's Elijah reportedly sustains a torn triceps and has undergone surgery to repair the injury. An update on several absent AEW stars. The Undertaker says he would entertain the idea of joining the WWE creative team, and several matches are confirmed for tonight's edition of AEW Collision. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Before we begin, you can see right there, we're currently just 16 subscribers away from 22,600 on that road to 23k for our goal of 25k in 2025. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. In addition, you can become a member of the WN365 roster. Links in the video description below. You can click the join button or scan the QR code when it appears on the sidebar. Now, let's begin with the ratings for AEW Grand Slam Mexico. And it was not only a big success inside of Arena Mexico, but also on the television screens for All Elite Wrestling. Wednesday night special Grand Slam Mexico episode of AEW Dynamite averaged 736,000 viewers on TBS, which is up over 23% from last week. This is the best audience total for the show since July 24th of last year. Dynamite drew a 0.21 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. That's up once again over 23% from last week and is the highest rating the show has done in that category since November 13th, 2024. Now, in terms of the quarter-hour ratings, these come courtesy of WrestleNomics. Shout out to them and be sure to subscribe to their Patreon service. As you can see right there, well above the usual trend for not only total viewership but also the 18 to 49 demo this past Wednesday. Now, there was no major sports competition on the night, with the Stanley Cup final having concluded and the NBA Finals not having a Wednesday game. As compared to the same week in 2024, Dynamite's overall viewership was up 46.6%, while its 18 to 49 rating was up 31.3%. Last year's show fell on the Juneteenth holiday and was a record low for Dynamite. That still stands. Of course, this year's numbers do not include max viewership, so the year-over-year increase possibly is even higher than they appear. Of course, this was AEW's Mexico debut, with Dynamite being held at the historic Arena Mexico. So very positive news there for All Elite Wrestling. Now, a bit of an update here on WWE wanting AEW references removed. Now, filming of American Gladiators reportedly is underway in Paris, France, and the reboot of the iconic show will feature talents from across pro wrestling, including WWE's The Miz, AEW's Camille and Wardlow, and OVW's Jesse Goddard and J-Rod. It was noted in recent days that there had been rumblings of issues over WWE and AEW talents working together on the project, with it being reported soon after that All Elite Wrestling had no issues with WWE's involvement on American Gladiators, as it was just a case of The Miz hosting the show. In an update, Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter has reported that it was WWE who had an issue with The Miz hosting American Gladiators due to AEW talents in Wardlow and Camille being featured in the series as gladiators. The new series is scheduled to air on Amazon Prime Video, although a premiere date has yet to be revealed. In addition to that, there are possibly issues with MJF appearing on Raw, not in the form of being a wrestler, but in a Happy Gilmore 2 advertisement. Now, WWE reportedly took measures to make sure MJF was not a part of an advert for Happy Gilmore 2 during Monday Night Raw. Maxwell Jacob Friedman will portray one of Happy Gilmore's sons in the upcoming movie, which is set to be released on Netflix later this summer. MJF was recently featured in the trailer for Happy Gilmore 2, hitting an elbow drop on a car. With Monday Night Raw airing on Netflix around the world, Happy Gilmore 2 was promoted during the WWE show, but MJF was not featured in the advert despite having a substantial part in the Adam Sandler project. Dave Meltzer reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that he was told ahead ahead of the June 16th edition of Raw that WWE may try and get a new trailer for Happy Gilmore 2 that doesn't feature MJF. As I mentioned, it's not the only issue reportedly WWE has with AEW talent featuring in projects that their stars also are actually participating in. Of course, Becky Lynch is also set to appear in Happy Gilmore 2, but her role seemingly might not be as big as MJF's. Now, this is quite interesting. There are conflicting stories here about Mercedes Moné and plans for her to lose in All Elite Wrestling. Since joining AEW, Mercedes Moné has become one of the most protected stars on the roster, with the CEO having yet to taste defeat in singles competition. Manet recently added the CMLL World Women's Championship to her collection ahead of the clash with timeless Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship at All in Texas. However, per a new report from Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, there were plans for Manet to lose her first match in AEW several months back, with Manet believed to have been willing to lose to Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Athena in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament ahead of a rematch at All In. Plans, according to Meltzer, originally called for Manet versus Athena and Storm in a match with Mariah May at All In, but after May indicated she wasn't going to sign a new deal, subsequently exiting the company for WWE, plans were changed, with AEW wanting to promote their biggest women's match in their history at All In with Manet versus Storm. With plans changed, there was no logic in having Manet lose to Athena and therefore not win the Owen. Seemingly, that was the report put out there, but now a new report suggests that's not true. According to Sean Rossap of Fightful Select, Athena versus Mercedes Moné was not the plan for AEW All In Texas. There was recently this report from Meltzer regarding plans for AEW All In that suggested that Mercedes Moné versus Athena was in the cards for All In, and that Mariah May leaving adjusted things. Specifically, that as recent as the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, that Mercedes was open to losing to set up an All In rematch. According to Sean Rossap of Fightful Select, this has been refuted by a number of AEW sources as never having been the plan. Fightful are saying they were told Mercedes hasn't been opposed to losing to anyone, it just hasn't been broached during the course of the push that she's been on. Fightful say they can't speak to her personal pitches regarding losing to Athena in the Owen Hart tournament, but the plan for Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné has been in the cards for All In since last year, even while Mariah May was still champion. Mariah May, according to SAP, had informed AEW she'd be leaving the company by the Hollywood ending, but by then AEW had already long had their creative plans for Mercedes versus Toni Storm set. Fightful have been told that Mariah May leaving didn't affect those plans whatsoever. It only affected the early discussions as to who Mariah would face if she was still around. There were early discussions internally for Mariah May to compete in a non-title feud. One source indicated that the plan for Mercedes Moné versus Toni Storm was something that was planned even as far back as a year before the show. Now, Vince McMahon, could he be on his way back to professional wrestling? Well, there's a rumor suggesting yes, some say no. Despite being in one of the middle of the biggest lawsuits in the history of wrestling, Vince McMahon seems to be attempting to get himself back into the entertainment business, as his name has been linked to a number of different business entities in recent weeks. At the end of May, he registered 3 entities in his 14th and 1 advertisement and investment and entertainment firm. There were talks of him potentially purchasing the bare knuckle fighting championships, and some people believe that he will attempt to buy WWE back from TKO at some point in the near future. While nothing is confirmed at the time of this recording, Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter was able to confirm one thing with a source close to McMahon, that he's not going to try and create a minor league wrestling promotion to challenge WWE. The source claimed that McMahon is too dominant-minded to try and start a war with the company he helped become the biggest wrestling promotion in the world. The example that was given to Meltzer was how McMahon didn't create the ill-fated XFL in the early 2000s to go head-to-head or challenge the NFL. It was designed to present football in a different way. The source stated that McMahon would be presenting a minor league product with a minor league roster, despite being a major league owner, against a dominant existing brand like WWE and AEW, which both have the benefit of having much better distribution deals. Meltzer did throw out the idea of McMahon potentially coming back in the way of purchasing TNA Wrestling, who WWE currently have a working relationship with, but even with a goods media rights deal, TNA would still be a distant number 3 to WWE and AEW in first and second respectively, and that if he couldn't change the football status quo with the XFL, he would have next to no chance in wrestling with TNA. Jey Uso. Many people were wondering, why did he have a short world title run? Well, apparently it was always the plan. Jey Uso's reign as WWE World Heavyweight Champion was brought to an end after 51 days by Gunther on June 9th. But apparently this was all part of the plan. Uso's unlikely ascent to the World Heavyweight Championship scene in the early stage of 2025 was as divisive as it was shocking, with Uso ending Gunther's run with the title at WrestleMania 41 Night 1. Gunther then went back to the drawing board and defeated Uso for the championship on Raw, and is now looking ahead to a championship clash with Goldberg at Saturday night's main event. According to Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE had always planned from the beginning for Uso to have a short reign as champion and then lose the bout back to Gunther. Whether the 9th of June edition of Raw was always the date for the title switch is unknown, but Gunther was always planned to regain the title ahead of his clash with Goldberg on July 12th, with Saturday night's main event taking place the same day as AEW All in Texas. Now, let's go back to AEW, specifically Hangman Adam Page, because it looks like he's got a lot of interest from Mexican promotions now. Hangman Adam Page certainly made an impression on CMLL, with the legendary Lucha Libre promotion begging to book the AEW star after Grand Slam Mexico. Page cut a promo in fluent Spanish during the show on June 18th, with the fans and CMLL management in attendance clearly impressed. Per a report from Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live, CMLL are now begging to get Page back in the promotion to work some matches. Quote, "It opened up with Cowboy coming out and just basically doing an introductory promo where he spoke entirely in Spanish because he was raised on a tobacco farm where he learned Spanish. Actually, he spoke great Spanish, in fact to the point CMLL is begging for dates with Hangman. They want him bad," said Alvarez. Now, Grand Slam Mexico was All Elite Wrestling's first show in Mexico and was the latest chapter in their relationship with Lucha Libre powerhouse CMLL. AEW's sister promotion, Ring of Honor, also ran a show as part of the event, with tapings held for Ring of Honor and CMLL Global Wars post-Grand Slam, with Bryan Danielson even making a surprise appearance to fight alongside Blue Panther. Staying in Mexico and going to the WWE-owned Lucha Libre AAA Worldwide, another star of the AAA roster could be set for a push on WWE's main roster. According to WrestleVotes on WrestleVotes Radio, WWE have significant interest in using Psycho Clown on the main roster, and the former AAA World Tag Team Champion would be a prominent part of Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. Psycho Clown was featured at WWE and AAA Worlds Collide, teaming with El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. and Pagano in a loss to Legado del Fantasma Santos Escobar, Angel, and Berto. Psycho Clown has also appeared on WWE social media channels as part of promoting AAA. After resting on the Mexican Indies and in CMLL, Psycho Clown has been a part of AAA since 2007. He has established himself as one of the Lucha Libre promotion's top stars. The breakout star of Worlds Collide, of course, was Mr. Iguana, and the popular luchador and WWE were reportedly finalizing a new deal for him last week. WWE and Felipe are in the process of acquiring AAA in a deal that is set to be completed later this year. According to Conan, who of course was on commentary for the Worlds Collide event, the end game for WWE is to secure a United States TV deal for AAA. Let's go over to TNA Wrestling and talk about Elijah. Fightful Select are reporting they have learned that Elijah, formerly known as Elias, sustained a tricep tear on this week's episode of NXT. Fightful are told that the spot happened when he came off the top rope and did double knees to the chest. When he broke his landing with his arms, a tear was sustained. Fightful have learned that TNA's lead ringside physician was actually visiting and helped NXT's medical team. Elijah has already undergone a successful surgery to repair the injury. Now, a bit of an update here on several absent AEW stars. All Elite Wrestling boasts one of the biggest and most talented rosters in wrestling, but with only a certain amount of hours in a week combined with the number of injuries some of their stars have picked up in recent months, a number of AEW's roster members have not been seen in quite some time. However, in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer managed to provide updates for some of the AEW stars that have been away from TV. On the injury front, Meltzer claimed that Juice Robinson is not far away from making a full-time return. Rock Hard broke his fibula during the first match of his 2024 Continental Classic run and has been out of action for almost 7 months at the time recording. A report was released in May about how Robinson had been relatively healthy for some time and was working hard to get back in the ring, but there has been no word on when that will happen. Hook has also been absent from AEW in recent months, last wrestling on the April 9th episode of AEW Dynamite, where he looked to have suffered a concussion, despite making a cameo appearance during the Anarchy in the Arena match at Double or Nothing. Hook confirmed that he has not been in action due to the aforementioned concussion injury, and that Meltzer confirmed that the angle is on hold until he comes back. As for the likes of Dr. Britt Baker and the scapegoat Jack Perry, they are simply not being used, despite still having time on their current contracts. In the case of Britt Baker, she hasn't been used since November 2024, and her deal runs until early 2026, which could be extended due to how much time she spent away from the ring due to injuries. Whereas Perry, who also hasn't been used since November, is reportedly healthy and waiting for the company to have something for him. Speaking of creative, The Undertaker, could he be on his way to the WWE creative team? Conan recently made headlines when he shared his opinion that he believed The Undertaker was looking to get involved in WWE creative. Speaking to Andrew Ravens of WrestlingNews.co, Undertaker was asked about his interest in potentially joining the creative team. The Undertaker had the following to say about it. He said, quote, "Yeah, I've always had kind of an interest. It's just a matter of making it work with my schedule and the other things that I have going on," he said, because the ask for something like that is really big, and I would have to be 100% committed to be part of that, right? I mean, you have to be involved in all of these creative meetings and all this other stuff. If we can figure out a way to make that happen, obviously being in Texas, I would definitely entertain it. I'll always, if there's something that I could do to make our product better, help talent, then I'm on board for that. And finally, several matches have been confirmed for tonight's episode of AEW Collision back in its regular time slot on TNT. The June 21st edition of AEW Collision is going to emanate from the Access Showwear Center in Kent, Washington. AEW President Tony Khan made several announcements for the show. The first is that AEW Women's World Champion Timeless Toni Storm is going to be speaking live ahead of defending her title against Mercedes Manet All in Texas. An all-star 8-woman tag team match is also on the bill. Thunder Rosa, Queen Aminata, Anna Jay, and Tay Mello are taking on Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Athena, Thekla, Megan Bayne, and Penelope Ford. It'll be Athena's first AEW TV appearance since her loss to Mercedes Moné in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Joining the fray in a singles match will be Shane Taylor and Washington State's own Swerve Strickland. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. As you can see right there, we're now just 15 subscribers away from 22,600 as we get closer to 23k on that road to 25k. Of course, we want to hit 25k in 2025. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. In addition, you can become a member of the WN365 roster. All you have to do is scan the QR code right there on the sidebar now. You can click the link in the video description below or the join button. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. So whilst you're checking out the sidebar, you can also see all upcoming live streams we've got coming up on the channel. That includes next Saturday we'll be live for a WWE Night of Champions watch along as well. We'll be live for a WWE Night of Champions post show, so be sure to join us live here on the channel, get involved and have a good time with us. I appreciate everyone for tuning in as always, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.